who is the Registrar of Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. We are also going to be having in our midst our distinguished guest, who also is the founder of the organization which we're going to be formally, setting up today, and that is in person of Professor Adebayo Olaiwola Adejimo. The organization, while we are gathered here today, is the Focusing on Young Nurses Initiative, an initiative established, founded by Professor Adebayo Olaiwola Adejimo and co-founded by Professor Priska Olabisi Adejimo. They are with us in our midst today to, share their wealth of experiences with us, and we're also excited to be tapping from their wealth of experiences today. So first of all, for housekeeping again, I would please admonish each and every one of us to please mute all our devices so that we will not have any form of interference from the background noises and the likes. I would also want to please admonish each and every one of us to please, while our guests will be speaking, to direct any concerns or questions to the chat box. Someone is readily available to relay any of our concerns to the appropriate individuals managing that platform. Okay. So to kickstart, I'll welcome all of us again, and then I would like to say that today we have two important guests in our midst, in persons of Professor Adebayo Olaiwola Adejimo, for those who are just joining us, and Mr. Israel Akeade. They will be answering our questions. Some of us have dropped some questions online, and they will be addressing on some important nursing issues that they are very paramount to our generation. So we have someone from the older generation who will be represented by Professor Adebayo Olaiwola Adejimo, and someone who will be speaking the minds of the younger generation in person of Mr. Israel Akeade. I welcome us all once again on behalf of Focusing on Young Nurses Initiative Nigeria to this webinar. I'm hoping that all of us, we have something spectacular to take home, and we hope that it will be a swell time today at the end of it all. Thank you once again on behalf of Focusing on Young Nurses Initiative. I welcome everyone. I can see people coming in. I can see everyone. I welcome us all. I may not be able to mention everybody's name. I can see Mr. Kazim Maila. I can see Mr. or Ms. Akiwusi Nyolua. I can see Okika Chiamaka. Welcome. I can see Oluwafisayo Nyolo. You're welcome. I can see I can see Tosi Amusa. You're welcome. I can see Mary Ayegu. You're welcome. You're welcome, everyone. You're welcome, everybody. I may not be able to mention all our names, but you are duly recognized. And like I said earlier, we are also going to be having keynote leaders in our midst, in persons of Dr. Umar Farouk Abubakar, who is the Registrar of the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. We are also going to be having our key nursing leaders in person of Professor Adebayo Olaiwola Adejimo and Professor Priska Olabisi Adejimo, who are the founders and the co-founder of this initiative, Focusing on Young Nurses Initiative Nigeria. Our anchor for today will be Miss Ruth Ololade, who will be interviewing our guests for today and also relaying all the questions that we've collated from the platform to our guests for them to be duly attended to. Thank you once again for gracing today's webinar. You are welcome.
Thank you.
While we wait for some other participants to join us, I will just quickly relate to us the agenda for today. So we will have the founder introduced the co-founder of this initiative introduced the focusing on young nurses initiative to us, for us to be able to know what this initiative is all about and what the initiative has in store for every one of us here on this platform, and those who will not be able to make it to the platform today. We'll also have the goodwill message from the registrar. We'll have the citation reading for our guests, and we'll openly have the opportunity to interview them. We'll have opportunities to ask questions, and after which we would all be able to relay any feedback, comments, or concerns for our guests to be able to duly attend to them. So if we have any concerns, like I said earlier, for proper housekeeping, please write it in the chat box, and it will be properly relayed to the appropriate individuals in charge of attending to those concerns. Please, once again, let us all mute our devices for proper housekeeping. You're welcome once again. Thank you. So once again, I will move on to the next item on my agenda, which is the co-founder of the initiative introducing the initiative to us, and that will be in person of Professor Priska Olabisi Adejimo. Over to you, Ma. You're very welcome to this platform. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and God bless you. Permit me to share both host already, so I can just go ahead and share.
So on behalf of Focusing on Young Nurses Initiative, I would like to introduce the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria Registrar in person of Dr. Umar Farouk Abubakar. You're welcome to our meet, sir. Please, can we give a clap? Or can we just indicate by showing the clap emoji or icon as we welcome the registrar for his goodwill message on behalf of the initiative?
Thank you so much. Just in a minute before we need to pass the message that here we are in our midst tonight, a very erudite, cerebral, astute, very, very distinguished peak-level nurse in the person of our Secretary General and in the Registrar of the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. He is actually at another function, and it's out of station, but it's chosen that no matter what, he will want to be part of this exercise. So it's a lot of honor on our part to have this level of commitment to our cause. It's my pleasure to graciously, respectfully, and honorably welcome the Secretary General of the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria to have his slot now. Let's appreciate him.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you.
We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your focus. Thank you for your commitment to the well-being of Nigerians and nursing at large. Thank you. May I continue to give my goodwill message?
Yes, sir.
Oh, young nurses, how are you? Let me respectively recognize Professor Adebayo Adejimo, Mr. and Professor Adejimo, Mrs. I must say grateful to you.
Thank you, sir.
And yes, sir. to the well-being and development of nursing profession at large, not only in Nigeria, not only in Africa, and I think globally. The sacrifices you are making in moving the nursing profession to remain indelible in the history of Nigeria globe. We cannot talk of the history of nursing in development and growth without mentioning Prof. Adejimo, Mr. and the Prof. Adejimo, Mrs. for your giant contribution. And these, your choice of mentorship, a younger one, I think this is a rare privilege that not all academicians and those in the scholarship level that have chosen this aspect. And to me, this is the greatest sacrifice you are making in this act. This is making greatest sacrifice you are making, because mentorship is an issue that is this present generation lost. But your foresight, your commitment of choosing this topic to mentor the younger sheep, bringing them focus, remain resilient, and be able to develop their future, I think is a wealth and a giant investment you are making in the lives of Nigerians and beyond. And the only goal that to reward you, and I want to put it on record today, throughout my tenure, or from the beginning of my tenureship as Secretary and Registrar, you remain indelible in my mind. Your positive contribution of the successes that I've recorded remain indelible, and you are at forefront, and I remain proud, and I always continue to remember your giant contribution. And at this time of critical situation where our country of difficult hardship, where our younger ones are looking what will be their future, but you have chosen to mentorship at the focus for them. I think this is a great sacrifice that you have made in the lives of these younger ones. And I pray to Almighty God to reward you abundantly. And I want to make it a record. This mentorship we have adopted will remain indelible in the history of Nigeria, in the history of nursing profession. And I want to tell you that it is a record that you have made it. And the God will continue to reward you. That is my prayers to you at any time. And I want to tell you that both the parents, the grandparents, the younger one, and even the one that are coming on board will not forget your names. And I want to believe your name will now remain in God for this giant strike in mentorship approach. Only God knows where this you will never tell about. Maybe among the younger you are mentoring, one of them, so many of them will become seasoned career professionals in their area, and now they have ascend because the future, the sky is their limit. And this is what Nigerians, the younger one, lack, the mentorship. But this is very focused and this is timely, especially this era of insecurity, era of hardship, era of insincerity in the country. Things are not going well. You all agree with me. A lot of hardship is been surrounding. Nobody knows what will happen tomorrow. And therefore, this younger one need to have a focus and to have direction. And you have decided to choose in this aspect of mentorship. I want to say that God will continue to reward you and continue to uplift you. Now, on the part of the younger ones that are on board, I wish to advise you and call on all of you to don't undermine and don't take this privilege of mentorship granted to you by our erudite in the profession, erudite in the academia. They have invested their wealth, they have invested their energy, they have invested their knowledge and skill to mentor you. I want to say that you are one of the luckiest. So don't take this as don't misuse the opportunity, don't misuse the privilege. Follow the focus, and now follow the mentorship back to back, so they'll be able to achieve and ascend the ladder to a successful life. I want to believe that Mr. and Mrs. they had a very successful life and they want to share same to you. So I am appealing to you and call to all the younger ones that remain focused, accept this mentorship from the bottom of your heart, and remain resilient, focused, and directional, so that you'll be able to
come back here.
Hello. Hello.
Go ahead, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Oh, all right. So that you can be able to have a successful life. Present situation in Nigeria is and beyond is not an easy task. So when you have gotten this thing, if you are to quantify this mentorship, only God. In fact, you cannot pay them. Only God will pay them. And what they have invested, the wealth of experience, wealth of knowledge, skills, both within and outside, they have gathered within the number of years when they decided to put it in a basket and bring you together and ask you follow this basket so that you'll be able to have a successful life. So I want to advise all the younger ones that are on this platform not to misuse this privilege and make use of it diligently to the best of their ability. And I want to believe that I'm confident with these two giant academicians taking these focus, you have a successful life if you follow them, because they had a successful life both in their marital status, both in their academic life, and both in their personal life. And they want to share it with you as part of their own contribution in this earth. And I think to all of you and all of you, don't misuse it. Make use of the privilege that you have gotten. That some of you, even your parents cannot give you this, but they have accepted to invest on these as part of their contribution to the well-being of Nigerians and beyond. So with this, I want to thank them for this giant strike, for this investment that I have made in order to contribute for the well-being of young and the well-being of our nursing profession, that we are proud and will continue to be proud of them. I want to say with loud voice, nursing history in Nigeria cannot be complete without Professor Adebayo Adejumo and the Professor Priska Adejumo. These are the two giant professors that I'm always proud, and I respect them. So I feel to all of you to respect them and follow the mentorship they have now put across, so that we'll be able to benefit immensely, so that we'll be able to have a successful life. And I believe by the time they turn back and they see you scaling the ladder in a successful life, then it's a joy not only to you, to your parents, to your siblings, to your relations, and everybody, even your own community. I want to believe that this is a rare privilege and you have gotten it. So with this few remarks, I pray to Almighty God to guide, to continue to embed them, to continue to improve, and now make them stronger and healthy, and in order to continue discharging these giant enormous responsibilities they have adopted, they have chosen to adopt with the interests of Nigerians and beyond. So once again, I want to congratulate all the youth, the younger ones that are successful, that are privileged to follow this platform or to join this platform as a mentorship initiative by these two elegant and giant professors that we are proud of. Thank you once again. I wish you all the best, and I wish you, I pray to Almighty God to continue to strengthen you, continue to make you stronger and healthy at all times. Thank you, Prof. Mr. and thank you, Prof. Mrs. I appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Our Registrar, Dr. Umar Farouk Abubakar. Thank you so much, sir. Our founder and our guest, Professor Adebayo Laiwola Adejumo. Yes, I would like to move to the next item on my agenda by introducing Professor Priska Olabisi Adejumo, who is the co-founder of this initiative. She'll be giving us a brief introduction about what this initiative has for each and every one of us and all other young nurses out there. Over to you, Professor Priska Olabisi Adejumo. Thank you so much for the opportunity and for being.
Let me just unmute myself. Hello, can you hear me, please?
We can hear you, Ma.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. My name is Priska Olabisi Adejumo, and I'm just to spend 2-3 minutes to take us through what Focusing on Young Nurses Initiative, FYNI, is all about. Next slide, please. I forgot I was not the one sharing the slide. I wanted to go to the next slide. Thank you very much. FYNI, as you can see on the slide, is a non-governmental organization funded by myself and Professor Adejumo. And why did we think of something like this? Is to help all of us, the young nurses. We want to see all we can to provide leadership and direction for ourselves as young nurses. Because we are the future of the major workforce of the health enterprise in many nations, not just in Nigeria. I know many of us must have read the World Health Organization report that says that nurses constitute 60% of the health workforce enterprise. And so as the future of the major workforce, it's important to pay attention to us. And so this initiative promises to increase nurses' retainership, enhance our job satisfaction, to be more confident, to have more confidence, to be more enthusiastic, to have a level of hope in their profession, while they are trying as much as possible to become the best they can be in terms of personal life, academic, professional development, and whatever. The vision is to be the leading career-driven professional nursing organization in Nigeria, notable for providing mentorship for young nurses in those different areas that I've mentioned earlier on: personal, academic, professional, and as you go along the line, whatsoever is going to make you be the best nurse that you can be. Thank you. Next slide. We, as a mission, we want to reproduce a critical mass of focused younger nursing professionals who will be well poised to take the future in their hands, while being mentored by experienced experts in various fields of nursing endeavors. Nurses are great. Nurses are excellent. Nurses are beautiful. Nurses are able to do, undo, redo, depending on the circumstances that nurses find themselves. And so it is important that we are helped, we are assisted as much as we can to be just the best we can. Next slide. We have just 7 slides. So this is Priska Olabisi Adejumo, and this is Adebayo Olayiwola Adejumo. Thank you. Next slide.
Good evening, sir.
These are the people behind the engine. Don't go yet. I have just one more slide. These are the people behind the scene. These individuals you are looking at are the power and the engine room of FYNI. They are the champions of FYNI. They are the ones that make everything you are seeing today happen by the grace of God. So I honestly really want to appreciate each and every one of them that you are seeing here. You have the beautiful lady who has been communicating with us, who is the secretary of the organization, Ms. Damilola Fadodo from Canada. Thank you, ma'am, for all you do. Next to her is Mr. Damilade Akinbade from Hong Kong. Thank you so much for all you do. Next to him is our who's going to take over right now. I will soon, get aside and she will come up. That's Ruth Ololade from Nigeria. She's the head of the social media team, and they are doing an incredible job. Next to her is Mr. Emmanuel Adesuyi from behind the scenes. We are FYNI, and we are so glad to have you. Next is very bright person with a very bright spirit who has been involved in several ways to ensure we are where we are today. Ms. Anne Bright, thank you very much for all you do. Mr. Ayinla Daniel is also from Nigeria. Mrs. Bright is from Nigeria as well. We thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Ayinla Daniel, for all you do behind the scene as well. We are greatly appreciated for the touch on the social media that you have brought to it. Thanks to the young nurse, Ms. Christy Adejimo, also from Nigeria. We are so excited to have your young mind to talk to us and lecture that the youngest, we cannot flow along. So, Mrs. Okedare, we are so glad she's a co-opted nurse who is, after her PhD, looking forward to get a certificate, nursing certificate. She's excellent, and we are so glad and so excited that we have her. Mr. Israel Akiade, who we are going to be meeting very soon too, is representing the young nurses this evening in the interview that we're going to be hosting very shortly. Is from Canada as well. Thank you so much. Miss Otunda Milola is from Babcock, from Nigeria. We are so happy also to have you. He's also doing great job from behind the scene. All the behind the scene people who are helping us, there are so many. We have Mr. Damilare Arowolo, Miss Agbola Victoria, and Mr. Adeshida Tosin, all from Nigeria. So I just want to let you know that as time goes on, we will need lots and lots of more volunteers to assist everybody working without any payments. We are all volunteers. We are volunteered to say, whatever we can do to help our younger folks, we are interested in helping them. And thanks to our Oga, the boss, who has released some amount of money to us as seed money, which is what we are running with right now. We want to appreciate you. So we look forward to hearing from you. And they are telling me my time is up. You can join us, ladies and gentlemen. All those platforms are there from social media, where you can connect with us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on via email, and all those various social media pinging and going out. And I hope that we will all have a wonderful time together. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Over.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. On behalf of the young nurses in Nigeria and across the globe, we want to say a very big thank you for putting up this platform for we young nurses to thrive. We know it's going to be a very, very productive time here today, having our guest speakers in our midst. I will go straight to introducing our guest speakers for today, and the person who is going to be anchoring today's interviews with our guest speaker, and that's straight to the next agenda, I guess. So first of all, I'd like to say welcome once again to all our distinguished guests. I can see some people just joined us on this platform. I want to welcome us all, and I'll move straight to the next agenda, which is first of all introducing our distinguished guest. We have Professor Adebayo Olaiwola Adejimo, who is the founder of Focusing on Young Nurses Initiative. I'm excited that I'm going to be on the, I don't want to use the word administration, but it's going to be a wonderful time learning from his wealth of, and tapping from his wealth of experience. And by the time I begin to read out the citation, you will know that we have, someone who is going to do justice to every question that we have on our mind today. And it's a privilege that we are going to be learning from you today. It's a privilege, sir. I don't want to say that, all what I've heard about you so far, I can see it being displayed, like both verbally and non-verbally, working with you, and it's quite a privilege. This is my own personal input now. It's a privilege to be finally here today to learn from you, and I'm sure I'm speaking the mind of all other young nurses who have been anticipating this webinar. You're welcome, sir. So first, to the next the second guest we're having today is Mr. Israel Akiade from Canada. He's going to be representing the younger generation. And by the time I also start to read out his citation, you also know that we have someone who is competent, to speak our minds and to represent us today. The anchor will be a person of Miss Ruth Ololade. She's been so exceptional in putting down all the questions that we have for our distinguished guest today, and she's going to be doing justice to some of this by relaying them to our distinguished guests. So on to the citation now. Just because of time, I will start with reading the citation of our founder as well as our guest today. That's in person of Professor Adebayo Olayiwola Adejimo. So Professor Adebayo Olayiwola Adejimo is a multidisciplinary health professional. He attended the then Ondo State School of Nursing at Ado-Ekiti, Nigeria, now Ekiti State University Teaching Hospital in 1982, and later proceeded to the University of Benin Teaching Hospital School of Post-Basic Nursing Studies in 1988, where he specialized in perioperative nursing and graduated with a distinction grade. Professor Adebayo Olayiwola Adejimo proceeded to the Department of Nursing, College of Medicine, University of Ibadan in 1992 and obtained a Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree in 1996. He obtained a Master of Science degree in Clinical Psychology, Faculty of the Social Sciences, University of Ibadan in 1999, and MPhil doctorate, and later a PhD in developmental psychology in 2004 from the same university. Professor Adebayo Adejimo attended the Joint Center for Bioethics, Institute of Medicine, University of Toronto, Canada in 2005, and also enjoyed an internship at the Department of Bioethics in the United States of America in 2015. Professor Adebayo Olayiwola Adejimo was offered appointment as a first male operating nurse at the University College Hospital, Ibadan, Nigeria, early 1989, and was later posted to the Perioperative Nursing School, University College Hospital in 1991 to combine both classroom teaching in perioperative care with direct scrub and circulating intraoperative roles for many years. He became the external examiner to many perioperative nursing programs in Nigeria for many years. As a member of the West African Bioethics training program and a faculty at the Center for Bioethics and Research, Professor Adejimo was one of the technocrats that developed the National Code for Health Research Ethics for the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2006. It was also appointed as the foundation member of the National Committee for Health Research in Nigeria, an appointment that was upheld by 3 successive members of Ministers of Health till 2017. He has had research ethics consultations up to the level of World Health Organization headquarters in Geneva, with related activities cutting across 14 countries globally. He joined the services of the University of Ibadan as a lecturer too, and rose through the ranks to become a professor of health psychology in 2018. He has published about 60 articles in frontline peer-reviewed journals, produced 3 PhD holders in the area of clinical psychology and another PhD holder in the area of social psychology, with 2 of his former research supervisees as HODs, that's head of department, in other universities. He has also supervised over 65 Master of Science in Psychology research projects, as well as over 100 Bachelor of Science in Psychology projects. Professor Adejumo assumed the position as head, Department of Psychology, University of Ibadan, on August 1st, 2021. He became a fellow. Just a moment. He became a fellow of the West African College of Nursing in 1997 and a fellow of the Nigerian Psychological Association in 2021. He is married to Professor Mrs. Priska Olabisi Adejumo, the immediate past head of the Department of Nursing, University of Ibadan. Professor Adebayo Olayiwola Adejumo is a nurse by profession, a psychologist by profession, and now a mentor. I don't want to use the word by profession. Please, can we all welcome to this platform Professor Adebayo Olayiwola Adejumo with a round of applause, please? We can put that in the chat box or use the emoji. You're welcome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Now, immediately, I'm going to move straight to reading the citation of our second guest for today, who is going to be representing the younger generation in person of Mr. Israel Akinade. Can Mr. Israel Akinade please show his face for everybody to be able to recognize him while I read out his citation? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So, Mr. Akinade Olubamiji Israel is a registered perioperative nurse who presently is practicing in Ontario, Canada. He completed both general nursing program and perioperative nursing program at the University College Hospital, Ibadan. He had a brief stint as a staff nurse and a clinical instructor with the same organization before migrating to Canada. His position as an operating room nurse and a specialty research nurse has afforded him the opportunity to serve as an inspiration to aspiring nursing students both in Nigeria and Canada throughout his nursing career. Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished participants, I present to you Mr. Israel Akinade, who will be representing and speaking the minds of the younger generation. Thank you very much, Mr. Israel, for honoring our invitation, and you are welcome. So I'm going to be introducing Ms. Ruth Ololade, who is going to be the anchor for today's interview. Ms. Ruth Ololade, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fadodudamilola. I welcome everyone to this interview session. It's good to have everyone around. I'm Ruth Ololade, your host for this evening. All right. It's a great privilege to have Professor Bayo Adejumo with us this evening. Welcome, sir. And I'll also...
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. And also, Mr. Israel Akinade, it's good to have you here. Welcome, all the way from Canada.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much. I'll be delving right into the questions we have for this evening. So the first question goes to Professor Bayo Adejumo. Sir, I would like you to describe your journey into nursing. What was your motivation for studying nursing?
Well, I want to thank you, just as I'm appreciating, thanking every one of us who've chosen to be here, who have chosen to spend your time elsewhere, or to give your attention to some other critical issues. But it's a lot of sacrifice for you to have chosen to be with us at this point in time. The question is my motivation into nursing. Well, I may not be able to say precisely what my motivation primarily rests on, but I can remember 1967, 68, by which time I was the seventh in the line in my family, my father's family at home. And my dad had an issue with polio attack. And for quite a while, he couldn't do many of the things that he would do normally. And he had to be at home for, I can remember, close to 3 months or more. I was very young and I was just starting primary school. But I'm just beginning to realize that it's by divine arrangement that my dad chose that I'll be the one to stay with him while everybody will leave the house, to attend to him. The attack was really huge, so he was going to lose his limb. I can't remember the medications or the things those who came to see him at that point now were giving him, but over the period while he had this attack, I stood by. I had enrolled in the primary school, but I had to stay back at home to fend for him. I will help him to carry his potty. I will help him to empty the potty. I will help him to do a few things. And I had about 4 elderly girls ahead. And I had maybe 3 or 4 other males ahead of me. I had a couple of them also that were fairly much younger, but he chose that I would sit by with him at home over the period while I was just enrolling in the primary school over that period. So that was my beginning days in nursing, where I had to give assistance to those who could, for one reason or the other, give help or assist themselves in doing what they will have needed to do on a daily basis. And my nursing paid off because my daddy recovered. He gained control of his limbs, he gained control of his hands perfectly. So I went back to school, I think 69. So I became fully enrolled. I started primary school until I needed to move because my uncle was a mathematics physics teacher. My uncle, the next one to my mother, finished from OAU and was relocated to Iwo. So I needed to go with him to Iwo Grammar School as a more teacher. So that's my first intercourse with sciences. Again, we relocated. We were in Lagos. I finished school in Lagos New City School, and I went back to Ilesha to complete my secondary education. I was to go to my Baptist Academy of Baniko. Long story. I finished secondary school in 1980. I got employed at the Federal College of Education Special Oyo very, very early, I think 1981. I don't know whether Omoba is here tonight. Kola Dejo. So we're together there. I was in the laboratory as a science laboratory technician. So from some of those things we did in the lab and some of those books I saw in the lab, I just somehow fell in love with biology. So end of 1980, I took the entrance exam to School of Nursing. Long story, I was given the admission. The lady who went to take the form of on behalf of me did not even secure the admission. But I went by divine providence. So what motivated me while I went in? I had a group of classmates who were very, very interested. Until today, we are very, very, in touch with one another. I can remember some of them. Of course, many are retired now anyway. Just as someone reminded me while I was in usage a couple of days back also that if I remain in usage, maybe either this year or next year I also need to retire. But while in the School of Nursing, I enjoyed every moment of my School of Nursing years. I must say that. And there were things in our time that appeared a little better than what some of the younger generations are experiencing. I will mention one or two. We were paid our salary twice in a month, sometimes 13, 14, or 26, 28, and the salary was regular. And very many times we were paid in mint envelopes. So you can calculate, you can predict your income, and you can plan, and you can live big while it is student nurse. But another thing that really encouraged me was the kind of classmates I had. I had people like C.K. Ojo who read Ross and West anatomy and physiology. Read a whole chapter without missing any comma or full stop. Initially, I thought I was brilliant, but the day I had to, I'm trying to remember my anatomy to call him, like, was the vice principal, I will call him like, that's what we call the anatomy teacher that time. She wanted all the reference that you have in nursing. Another thing that motivated me in nursing was why I think just year 2, just getting set full of nursing, I did it in lose. They call it brain of the month. Myself and a couple of other, I can't remember who and who, were also the ones who represented my class, my group. We had about 6 AMs. So we competed with other AMs. We were not finalists, but I told you, I can tell you, we defeated other AMs in the school and we won the brain of the month. Why not in the final year? So some of these things encouraged my heart that, oh, there's something in nursing. You know, when you succeed, it motivates you to desire to do better. But I must tell you, I was not the brightest in my class. I had people like CK, I had people like Kenturaya, I had a late friend, very close friend, Demo Cool. Demola Famakiwa is late now. They called him Blow that time. Very many of them, very brilliant cerebral people. But maybe because I was a little younger, I was a little towards reading, a little bit towards being playful. But I finished nursing at Messland Hospital. That was in Oshogbo, for some of you are from Oshogbo. It was one of the frontline major private hospitals then. One of the motivations that made me to stay in nursing was my experience there. I had a matron who gave me the free hand and freedom to express my potentials. And I cannot forget the trust that the proprietor also had in me, Professor Dr. Fagbeyesa, of blessed memory at Messland, Oshogbo. In fact, we started from 28 Bishop Street in Oshogbo. From there, we got better revenue funds with which we established Messland Hospital that was like a teaching hospital. In fact, I will see my fuller CV. And the late Isaka Adeleke of the blessed memory also took over that hospital as the takeoff point for Lautech in those days. So 1987, having been in Oshogbo for quite a while, I was in the, surgical nursing unit. So from that time, I had direct, operations to manage works a little bit. 1987, 1988, I joined University of Benin Teaching Hospital, UBTH, School of Post-Basic Nursing.
You're muted, sir.
Have you been hearing me so far? Hello?
Now we're good, sir.
No, sir. I can hear you now, sir.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't know how long that reached out. But anyway, so Fumilayo Idusogbe was my teacher. And of course, some people will call her Iron Lady. But she's a darling teacher. A really, really hardworking mother, a dependable teacher, a coach par excellence. The first test we had in school, she gave us a test and she was scoring this upon 10. Of course, she was very cerebral. scarcely we use plus 6 upon 10 in our test. And each time she will call everyone who were drawn from almost all the states in the country in that class. She will call so name and say 3 upon 10. Call another one 4 upon 10. But while it was my turn, she called this young nurse and said, Adebayo Adejuma, 9 upon 10. And I said, who is this? Who is this? She screamed. And she graded my script with a screaming exclamation mark. So that was, and she expressed and poured some encomiums on me, wondering how I was able to score 9 upon 10 in our test. That was a major landmark that made me to stick to nursing. Of course, while it was time for practicals and other, I loved every aspect of peri-op. But I enjoyed theory of perioperative nursing. I enjoyed operating room management, theater management. I enjoyed it the more. Well, because we may still have very many questions. Well, I left Benin, joined University College Hospital. That's in March 89. Of course, I was not to be taken because there wasn't anything in the history that will allow a male nurse to be admitted or employed in the operating theaters of UCH in those days. And there was so much debate concerning whether they should interview me at all in the first instance or whether I should not be shortlisted at all. I can remember the director of administration, Mr. Salako. He said, let's give him a try. Let's see how it goes. I joined very many others, close to 112. I came second during that interview. So they had no choice than to give me employment. So I was the first male nurse in the history of the University College Hospital for a male nurse trained, certified in the area of perioperative nursing. And there are many challenges. They called me Okanlawan because of the remaining 43, 46 nurses in theater. I was the only male. So that was challenging. But it had its own, a good side. It also had its own downside. The downside is any case that will require, maybe people don't want to stand for too long, they push Adejuma there. And of course, if you remember writings in many textbooks, like Fortunato, like Raymond Bryden, they gave reasons why people didn't want to go for theater posting in those days: sight of blood, prolonged standing, anxiety-bearing situations. Anyway, maybe by the time many more questions come, I will say more so that I can just. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
But there's so much to say. There's still so much to say.
Thank you, sir, for that. And in my opinion, I would say the occurrence of your father's illness actually made you divinely selected, or should I say divinely ordained for this profession.
Yeah.
And I would also say that I'm a bit envious of the fact that you were being paid as a student, because of course some of us,
there's something we call essential commodity. They will give us milk, they will give us Milo. I'm telling you, you missed.
Sir, we really missed. We can't relate to that. You surely have a lot of experiences. All right, thank you, sir. I'll quickly want to direct a question to Mr. Israel Akinade. It's actually a similar question. We want to hear from you, from a younger nurse perspective. What informed your choice of nursing profession?
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm just going to start by saying that thank you for having me on this platform. I feel really privileged to be here. And of course, my relationship and experience with Professor Adejuma dates way back to during my perioperative nursing time. And I am really grateful to him, and of course also to other lecturers that I met during the program. I cannot separate my experience in Nigeria from my life or my career, irrespective of where I travel across the world. And I use this opportunity to say thank you. speaking of what informed my choice of becoming a nurse, I would like to say that when I was in high school, one thing that was always in my mind is always an opportunity to, I always want to be in the healthcare industry. And I want to have the opportunity of helping people. I find working in the hospital very interesting. I find it challenging, and I find it, I think it was rewarding. So, and that was why I decided, nursing would be a good choice for me. But of course, as we all know, during my time, I did my nursing program in 2001. I discussed the idea with my parents. And of course, we know that parents have a lot of influence in our career path. So I discussed with my dad especially, and one thing that they did mention was that we would like you to do something that has a job prospect looking at the country. If we don't want you to graduate and then you are there, you cannot support yourself or your family. So these things made me to think of nursing as something like Professor Priske did mention. Nurses, we are a major workforce. There are quite a few of us out there, like 60%, that's a lot in the healthcare industry. So I figured there is hardly a way I'm going to graduate from nursing program and not have a job. So I went into nursing program, and of course, coming from high school where it was only male only and going into nursing, I found it very contrasting, like going from a male only school to a female only school. And I'm like, oh, this is exciting. And I just had to put my feet on the ground and make sure I do my part of the deal. So I went into nursing program. I found it really exciting. I was, of course, doing well in my academics. And of course, I mean, I would not say that I was the best student when I was in school, but I can say that I did really well. So, and that really allowed me to enjoy the profession, ask for more, challenge myself, and up to today, I still find the profession very rewarding and enjoying. So I'm going to leave it at that.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Israel Akande. Well, I'll quickly just chip this question in. So what do your parents think now that you are a practicing nurse in Canada? Do they think nursing really paid off for you?
I do think, even because when I started practicing in Nigeria, I would like to say, like, I'm sure that some of the participants here are aware of that. When I was in nursing school, I like to challenge the situation. I do not really like the status quo. I like to ask questions. And when I graduated from nursing school at GCH, we were offered a job, which was something that doesn't happen in the hospital. There were, I think, about 10 of us that was offered a job by the then chief medical director of the hospital. And for, I think, probably a year, nothing happened. And I felt that was not right if the CMD had come publicly and said, I have offered these people a job and nothing is happening. So I started writing letters and pressing buttons. And my parents felt, oh, really? What are you up to? But after, I think, a couple of months, the hospital called us and said, oh, we made the promise and we're going to honor the promise. So I, myself and a few other people that were in that group, we started working. And from that time onward, my parents have no doubt that they've made the right choice, the right call, and that nursing is rewarding. So, and that has not changed since that moment.
Wow, that's nice. That's interesting.
Thank you
so much for sharing that. All right, so back to Professor Bayo Adejumo. Sir, I would like to ask you to share some of your significant experiences. I mean, the significant experiences you had as a student nurse or as a post-basic nurse.
Oh, well, as a student nurse, I've told you part of that. But I had good friends while I was in School of Nursing, no doubt about that, and the friendship subsists. But at the post-basic school, of course, you know, leaving the Southwest to go to Benin brought its own challenges, different culture, different people. And in a school that had the representation of the whole of the country, it was very competitive. I was playful, but I was studious. And as studious as I was, I still had time for socials. So one of the days I was just finishing a surgical operation, assisting as a course nurse, and I wanted to just have a short break, before the next case. So I went to I don't want to say the restaurant, and I saw a student nurse walk by, and that didn't cross my mind at all at the beginning, but something just said, "Oh, that's your wife going," and I said, "Wow." Of course, that was 24th August 1988, and we got married. That's 3 years after. So this day 28 is very significant. Significant for two reasons. One, we married on the 28th. Two, my wife joined the university on the 28th. Three, we moved to our house on the 28th. And today, we are launching FYNI on the 28th. So these are significant events. Another thing that encouraged my heart was while I was in Oshobo, chances of, bringing your prowess to bear came calling. We went visiting other areas where we had retainerships. In those days, NEPA and their outlets ran, the whole Oyo State that time. But my employer insisted that I would be the one to lead the team, even though we had physicians that would go with us. So there's some of the things that motivated me. And I can also remember, even as a student nurse, when you are left alone on a ward, and some of those little things you are taught in the demonstration room or that you are taught in your school, in the school, you put them into practice and you see some patients being woken up from their death. So these are some of the things that actually motivated me. But I have the upside, so also I had the downside. Maybe some other time we'll take some of these ones. I just want us to take it, systematically. If that opportunity comes, I'll still press rewind and speak on that.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for that, sir. I would also want to follow up with a question.
Okay.
Sir, who are your mentors in nursing and what role did they play in your life and career?
Good. I've mentioned some already. I have mentioned Mrs. Fumilayo Idizoge. That was the coordinator of the perioperative nursing program, University of Benin Teaching Hospital. That was 87-88 to the very, very early part of 89. And she did the work of mentoring, and she did it excellently. And I don't know whether she's on the platform, but we got in touch with her and she was we still communicated today, since being a student in 1988. In fact, she has visited my family twice. And I can't just stop mentioning the role she played in my life. She's very, very brilliant, very, very blunt, and very, very hardworking. So, and I think indirectly I imbibe some of those cultures. I may not be perfect, but so Mama Idusege played a major part. Another person that did, that's while I was at the Department of Nursing. Doctor, who is now Professor Titi Filani, she anchored nursing education courses. A disposition and an encouragement, the smiles and the pleasure she brings to our class endeared me to our class. And that may be one of the reasons why I scored the highest grade in nursing education for my set in the university. And I cannot forget her. And in my doctorate thesis of 2004, I still acknowledge these two people profusely. But again, before then I had I.B. Owo, who was my school principal in secondary school. I saw him as a tyrant, as a teenager. But later on, I grew to know that all those things that he taught, that he stood for, were just things I needed to become a man in life. I was in the United States while he died, but the family and the connection we had since 1975 still continued till the time he died a few years ago. That I became, and I did not even know while I was in the university that his grandchild was my research supervisee. It was the day I finished supervising this girl that she brought out, because I gave her my PD thesis at a point in time to use to help her write some sections to read through what those sections should read like in her own work. And she told me, "Sir, do you know you're my grandfather's student?" Almost 40 years after, and I didn't know that all along. Again, 2004, I was in Canada. I finished making a presentation in class. I talked about gospel and retention of sponges and cavities. And a professor of medicine acknowledged that for me to make an headway in that class and in that presentation I was making, I would need to speak to a nurse consultant at Toronto West General Hospital. That was when I was in Canada. He gave me the woman's contact and details, and I went to see a couple of days after. By the time I was done with this woman, who was a consultant in the area of management of operating room, then I got to know that indeed nurses could be better than any other professional under the sun. And it was from my mouth for the first time I know that when you are talking about retention of sponges in cavity, you rather call it gossipo by Boma. That's why I learned that, trait. There are very many others who impressed me. Of course, Mama Okwade, Professor Okwade Shivibi, Dr. Okwade, Dr. Bola Ofi. These were people that made indelible impressions in my life. And I'm saying it publicly. They were my teachers, but today we are very, very, very close family friends. And I give them their due respect anywhere I meet them or I get to hear about them. And they still visit me even to the level of my family. Mama Okwade will be 90 in a couple of months. Mama Okwade was in our house. And for some of us in FYNI,